To begin, we're going to add a little bit of buttercream onto our cake board. So I am working with an 8-inch cake, so I have an 8-inch cake board. And then we're going to work on the filling. So I'm going in with a buttercream dam. And then I have my mixed berry filling right here. So this filling is thick, so I ended up going with a second layer of that buttercream dam, which is what you just saw me do. And then once you flatten out the filling, add on your second layer of cake, and then just repeat this step until you've used up all of your cake layers. So all of my cakes are 3 layers of cake, 2 layers of filling. Add on your last layer of cake, and then I'm going to go back in with some more buttercream and fill in the gap just because I don't want any filling oozing out or squeezing out. And then with my small angled spatula, I'm going to go in and smooth out that buttercream dam. I just don't want it bulging out too much. And then this is going to go in the fridge just until the buttercream is firm. Once your buttercream is firm to the touch, we're going to bring the cake back out and cut off the caramelization. And I do this just to even out all of the cake layers and make sure that they're the same width. Sometimes some cake layers bake a little wider than others. So for this, I'm putting my cake on top of a sheet pan, and this is just to help with the mess. And then I'm going in with a big bread knife, and I'm just going to cut around until the cake is pretty even. So now we're ready to crumb coat. And before I start, I'm going to place my cake onto a larger cake board. So I have a 10-inch cake board here. When I do my crumb coats, I like to put the buttercream into a piping bag and then place the buttercream onto the cake that way. In my opinion, it's just less messy this way. I'm adding a little bit of buttercream onto the top of the cake. I'm smoothing that out first, and then I'm going to go in and smooth out the sides. So for my cake process, I always use this small angled spatula. So I like to use a smaller spatula because for me, I feel like I have more control with it. I've tried to use one of the larger ones and it just is a little bit too messy for me. It's hard to control the buttercream in my opinion. Once you're done spreading out the buttercream with your angled spatula, you're going to go in with a scraper. I'm using this metal scraper. So when it comes to smoothing out the side of a cake, you want to use the turntable to help you spin around the cake. The hand that is holding the bench scraper, you want to keep it still because you need to make sure that your scraper is straight throughout this process. So you don't want to move that hand around too much. Once you've smoothed out your sides, you're going to clean up the top edge, and then you're going to pop the cake into the fridge until it's completely firm. Once the buttercream on your cake is firm to the touch, we're going to add on a second layer of buttercream. And keep in mind that I like to work in multiple layers of buttercream, but they're all thin layers. If it looks like I'm adding too much buttercream, most of it gets scraped off. When I'm working on the second layer of buttercream, I almost never put buttercream on the top of the cake. I only focus on the sides because I just personally feel like you don't need to have that much buttercream on the very top. I'm going to end up adding buttercream to the top in the next step, so that's why I don't worry about it in this step. I'm cleaning up the top edge of my cake right now because I find that when I have too much built up buttercream up there, it's harder for me to get a sharp edge. The main goal in this second layer of buttercream is to perfect your sides. So you're going to use the buttercream to your advantage right now. If there's one side that's a little lopsided, add more buttercream where you need or take off buttercream where you need to get your sides as straight as you possibly can. Once you're happy with the second layer of buttercream, pop your cake back into the fridge until the buttercream is firm, and then we're going to work on coloring our buttercream. So I usually color my buttercream with either Color Mill or Chef Master. So when I mix the color into my buttercream, I only color what I feel like I'll need for this last layer, and I mix it by hand. I don't go in with the mixer because I feel like the mixer adds air bubbles to it. So the first layer of buttercream is the crumb coat, and that's just to lock in all the crumbs. The second layer of buttercream is to perfect your sides and make sure your cake isn't lopsided. And then your third layer of buttercream is a layer that you're going to use to add color. And the only reason I add color to the very last layer is because I don't like to eat a lot of food coloring, especially when it's a really dark color like black or red. I just don't like the thought of eating that much food coloring or having somebody else eat that much food coloring. So that's why I only add color to the very last layer. You can't tell from these clips, but I am warming up my scraper under hot water, and this gives your buttercream a really nice and smooth finish. So that's it for this video. This is how I ice my cakes. This is the method that works for me. It can be a little lengthy, but I feel like it gives me a really nice finish for the end product. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.